Hello everybody, this is DiANtinatalist and I have Alex here. He's got a great idea for some video content, so I'm going to let you have the podium, Alex.
So we're driving through the cemetery on this beautiful snowy day, and we wanted to discuss a brief topic, which is about death and loss and how all that comes from being born. Most people seem to assume that life is at the end. Life gives you something, gives you friends, gives you love, gives you experiences. All of that is going to be taken away permanently. And this cemetery really shows that. And it really shows how everybody, no matter their walk of life, no matter how successful they are or unsuccessful, they're going to end up here with nothing. And people are driven by delusion, and they seem to believe that they're going to become a lawyer or they're going to have this experience, and they think that's the totality of their life. But the totality and ultimate end is this. So people should realize that giving life is not giving a gift, it's giving a loss. It's taking something away from a person, because everybody here, you know, there were somebody's relatives, so that person lost a relative, they lost a mother, a father, a friend, and everything eventually gets lost in life. Youth gets lost, health gets lost, pretty much everything. So life is inherently negative in that sense. You're not giving the gift of life, you're taking things away by giving life. And you can elaborate on that if you want.
And yeah, you earlier had said that, you know, people are working towards a degree and, you know, they're working towards something, and that something that people are working towards is just so very minimal in the scheme of things, in you know, in the course of life, and it's such a short stint. People, you know, they're excited. Young people are excited to go to college and everything that college is involved. And then for a brief moment, they're excited with a career. However, careers can really be short-lived, and they can really let you down. You can start a career and then you can get laid off, or, you know, something like COVID can take over and just really ruin your life in so many ways. But this is where you know, you're going to spend your life, and whether it's whether you're cremated or whether you're buried, you are going to be dead a lot longer than you are going to be living. And so I just thought this is just a beautiful day to just drive around and take some pictures of the cemetery. And this is it's a big cemetery, and at the other end there's an exit of a place that I'm going to go for lunch.
And one thing I wanted to also add is that when you look at all these gravestones, you see quiet and peace and lack of want. If these people were alive now, they would need all sorts of things. Some of them would be in hospitals for COVID. Some of them would have, you know, traumatic issues. Some of them would be abusers that hurt people. Some of them would have, you know, serious problems and tragedies. So it's good that they're in this state, and that's how the unborn should stay, because the unborn are also in a similar state of non-existence, just like, you know, everybody buried here. So this is far more peaceful. The rain doesn't affect them, the weather doesn't affect them, the pandemic doesn't affect them, and it's, you know, this is a nice solitude.
I saw a meme the other day, and it said, did you ever miss any? There's a little squirrel. The meme said, did you ever want anything before you were born? Did you ever miss out on anything before you were born? Of course you didn't. It was only after you were born that you felt discomfort, you felt longing, you felt emptiness, loneliness, abandonment, poverty, depression, hunger, thirst. And you know, humans are very complex creatures. I'm looking at these geese and I think they're a very, very simple creature, and you know, they live their whole day pecking on the surface of the ground, the grass, or even the snow. They're looking for scraps, or looking for some kind of nut or berry or seed, or something left over from humanity. But humans are very, very complex, and you know, we're not made for we're not made for survival. We need coats. We need, rain repellents. We need medicine. We need, jobs. We need money. These geese, they don't need jobs. They don't need money. They just need food, and they're capable of finding their food. But, people, like, I passed a lot of homeless people on the way here, and every one of them was young. Every one of them was like under 40, and they were male. Now, I don't know their circumstance, but whatever state that they're in, they have less going for them than some creature in nature. So even if the young men were able-bodied and they had their legs and their arms, they still need money. They need medicine. They need possibly therapy, drugs, food and water and shelter. And there's just no God, because a loving God would have provided everything with what they needed for their lives, and they would never been inflicted any kind of harm, any kind of sickness or death. So we're going to leave the God out of this, because if there's a God, he's a very bad God, and he wanted people to suffer, age, and die. But anyway.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Humans are essentially a conundrum of needs, and as soon as you're born, all people really do is they satisfy those needs, but there's no gain from that, because all you're doing is you're getting rid of your feeling of hunger, you're getting rid of your feeling of wanting something, you're getting rid of your feeling of thirst or pain. So if you don't exist at all, if you're not born, it's much better, because you don't have those negative needs that you need to neutralize. So life is a loss, essentially. All lives ultimately lead to loss. And even if you have an exceptionally successful life, that makes your losses even more immense and even more great. I mean, somebody that's sitting on $1 billion knows that that's not going to be their money in a few years. Somebody that has a big estate knows that they're going to lose that. So the more you have, the more you have to lose. And if you have nothing, then life is probably even more negative, because you're already losing.
And these are soldiers' graves here. They look very, very old. They're not dated, but kind of cool. They have they're well kept and they're well preserved.
And I find it kind of interesting and sort of funny how capitalism even seeps into the cemetery, because if you look at some of the graves, not that it really matters what kind of grave somebody has, but you can really tell that some of the graves are very fancy and took a lot of work and took tens of thousands of dollars. And then you see some of the other graves are very cheap and very inexpensive and very simple. So just another ego thing of people wanting to put the biggest grave up for themselves or for their loved ones. And I just find that kind of sickening, because at least in a cemetery, things should be even and balanced. But even here, people want to have the fanciest stuff.
Yeah, it's not even balanced in the cemetery, is it? And basically, that's the balancing of balancing. That's the equalizer of equalizing, or equalizing of equalizers. Because they're all dead and there's nothing anymore. And so, I guess if you have money left over, why spend it? Why not spend it on a pretty grave? But in the end, you're just dead, just like everybody else. So, your plot might be next to, just your average shoemaker or soldier, veteran, and you could be a high up CEO, but you're just still in the grave. And life is just so pointless. And like a comment that Alex made earlier, and that you're just satisfying needs. And so we just stopped by a French bakery and we got some food and some desserts for ourselves. And the food is going to be really good. It's going to taste really good to put some food in our mouths. And we have not eaten today, so it's going to be even more delightful. But we have hunger needs, and we need to be... Oh, that is so cool. I wish I had a ladder. I want that bee's nest right there. I want that. Oh my God. I want that so bad. That is a wasp nest. and those are really, really cool, and they're always up a little too high. At least, oh, I would come back here and snatch that if I could. But anyway, yeah, we have needs that have to be satiated. So, and just like the other day, I made a video, and well, no, I haven't made this video yet, but I'll give part of it away. So I was cold, and I got in my car, and just the warmth on my feet was just like, oh my God, it was just blissful. But it was only blissful because my feet were cold. If my feet were not cold, or if my feet were already hot, that burst of air and heat from the floorboard of my car would not have been so welcome. So the fact that we have needs, just biological needs to keep ourselves going and keep ourselves above water, and you know, I just think the taste and satiation of hunger is a big factor in living, because even into your very last breath, you are usually eating food if you can, and if you're able to. You still like to eat. You will still grab that spoon or that fork and shove food in your mouth. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this beautiful tour through the cemetery. And there's probably going to be more cemetery videos from us. But this is the first snowy one, and we're heading out to a lunch spot of a friend of mine. So thanks for watching.